triple thick pork chops, Cape Town lamb, and smoked suckling pig. From the DoubleTree by Hilton Golf Resort in Palm Springs, California, I'm Stephen Raichlen, and this is Project Smoke.
Okay, let's do it.
As I've traveled around Planet Barbecue, I've been amazed by the different sizes of grills and smokers.
I guess once we can get it on here, then we can spin it. Nice and easy.
There we go.
In Asia, grills are tiny. Think of the Japanese hibachi, for example, or the Indonesian satay grill. Well, here in North America, bigger is definitely better. Think about giant smokers, and think about what we smoke. Whole briskets, pork shoulders, even whole hogs. I wanted to create a show that celebrated this notion of bigger is better. Big smokers, big meats for a big finale. Good things come in small packages? Maybe at the jewelry store, but not from the grill or smoker. Today's show is all about thinking big and smoking big. Up first, monster thick smoked pork chops. I discovered these triple thick pork chops at a really cool restaurant in Minneapolis called Butcher and the Boar. Briny succulence, great smoke flavor, spicy crust, everything you could wish for in a pork chop. These are the biggest, baddest pork chops of all, pork porterhouses. They're actually two cuts of pork in one, the pork loin on this side, the pork tenderloin on this side, connected by a bone. The first step is to make a brine. It starts with sea salt and granulated sugar and pink salt, also called Prague powder. It's what gives ham its pink color and that rich, luscious umami flavor. Now add 1 quart hot water. Whisk until the sugar and salt are dissolved. Then whisk in 1 quart of ice water to shock chill the brine. Pork chops have a tendency to dry out on the grill, and brining is one way to keep them moist. So pour this brine over the pork chops. Then place the pork chops in the refrigerator, brining time 8 hours. To smoke the monster pork chops, I'm using this equally oversized ceramic cooker. And in the bottom, there is a coal basket, which I filled with natural lump charcoal, a few lit coals on top. This gives you a top-down burn for a slow, steady smoke. I'm using a remote digital thermometer to monitor both the temperature of the smoker and the temperature of the pork chops, so I've clipped a thermocouple to the grate. Now let me close the smoker and go get the brine pork chops. Here are the brine pork chops. You can see they've started to take on that rosy ham-like color. That's thanks to the curing salt. So you want to take out the pork chops, give a quick rinse in cold water, and transfer the pork chops to a wire rack to drain. Now the next thing you want to do is blot the pork chops dry. Remember, the surface of the meat should be tacky, not wet. That way, the smoke adheres properly. The temperature is 225 degrees. Oil the grill grate. This prevents the pork from sticking. It also cleans your grill grate. These are amazing before they're even cooked. Arrange the pork chops on the grate. To monitor the temperature of the pork chops, insert the probe of your digital thermometer into the thickest part of the chop. Then to generate a smoke flavor, lift the grate hatch. We'll grab a couple of chunks of cherry wood, so give you a great smoke flavor. Now close the lid and latch it. Cooking time about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, and I'll take the remote receiver. That way I can monitor the cooking process while I'm having a beer. Now you could serve the chops hot off the smoker, but I like to make a rub and sear the chops over hot fire with the rub. It's a simple rub, equal parts sea salt, ancho chili powder, and brown sugar. Just mix these ingredients with a fork or with your fingertips. In my world of smoke, it's all about building layers of flavor. Okay, check the temperature of the pork. 144 degrees, we're ready. Are those gorgeous or what? So what you want to do is pull out the probe. One. I wish you could smell this. And at this point, you want to leave the grill open. You want to bring the temperature up for that last sear. Okay, brush the smoked chops with extra virgin olive oil. This will help the rub adhere to the meat. Then sprinkle the tops with the chili rub. It's all about layering flavors. Then brush this side and hit the chops with more rub. And return the chops to the grill for this final sear. The idea here is you're just gonna caramelize that brown sugar and chili powder into the meat. At this point, to pump up the heat, you wanna open all the vents. So I'll just open this vent up wide. I'll open this vent up wide. Cooking time, really fast, just 2 to 3 minutes per side. Look at that sizzle. I've seared them on both sides. They look drop dead gorgeous. Take them off. So here are your brined, spiced, smoked monster pork chops. Let's see how we did. Look at that beautiful pink color. Oh, man. That beautiful, briny, smoky ham flavor with the meatiness of a pork chop. Nice little chili kick at the end. This may be the best pork chop I've ever tasted. I am so psyched. If I were any more psyched, you could bottle it and sell it. Our next dish comes from one of the world's great barbecue hotspots, South Africa, where European, Asian, and African influences come together in barbecue that is bigger than life. I give you Cape Town lamb with ginger, garlic, and wood smoke. When I visited Cape Town, South Africa, I felt like I was making a pilgrimage to the birthplace of barbecue. After all, it was not far from here that archaeologists have discovered the remains of a fire built by distant human ancestors over 1 million years ago. Well, since then, South Africans have had a lot of practice in the art of barbecue, and they're equally at home grilling wild game as they are smoke roasting a whole leg of lamb. This is a 7-pound leg of lamb, and I asked our field chef, Chris, to trim off this bony shank end, and then to remove what's called the H-bone. Take these off. Obviously, you're gonna have your butcher do this for you. And then he did what's called a tunnel boning, where he comes in with a boning knife around the leg bone and loosens it, and we pull this out as well. And then, why not, insert a branch of rosemary in its place. Turn the leg of lamb over. Now this leg of lamb has a beautiful sheath of fat on the outside. I'm gonna leave that because that melting fat is gonna baste the leg of lamb as it cooks. And in fact, to release the fat, I'm going to score the top in a crosshatch pattern. This will also give your leg of lamb a really awesome appearance. Now, with the tip of a paring knife, make a series of slits in the lamb. And in half the slits, insert slivers of garlic. Next, what you want to do is place a sliver of ginger in every other hole. So it's half the holes are garlic, half the holes are ginger. Now, turn the leg of lamb over. You don't need to score this side because there isn't much fat, but you do want to make those same slits once every 2 inches. And once again, insert garlic slivers. Here's a ginger. So to tie the leg of lamb up, cut yourself a half a dozen lengths of butcher string, each about 20 inches long. Then we'll bring the lamb on top. And then you'll come across and loop the end of the string through twice. Just kind of locks the string in place so you can tie it off tightly. Tie it off. Last step, drizzle extra virgin olive oil over your lamb. Rub it in. And the extra virgin olive oil helps the exterior crisp. And finally, we'll season with coarse sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. Now, grab the rotisserie spit, and what you're going to want to do is insert it through the leg of lamb, and then we'll insert the prong on the other side and snug the prongs into the roast. Turn it over and tighten those screws. To spit roast the lamb, I'm using a wood-burning grill and rotisserie. So you build your fire in the back, little fire in the front. Leave the center area clear. That way, when the lamb fat drips down, it won't catch fire. So to insert the spit, you want to put the pointed end in this socket all the way. Then insert the other end in the socket. Then switch the rotisserie on. Then use this flywheel to lower the rotating lamb to within about 18 inches of the fire. Cooking time for spit roasting, 1.5 to 2 hours. Meanwhile, let me show you how to make the glaze. The glaze starts with Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce and extra virgin olive oil. Then brown sugar for a touch of sweetness, and Dijon mustard, and Chinese mustard for spice. The Dijon a little saltier, the Chinese mustard a little hotter. Finely chopped garlic, finely chopped ginger, and the grated zest and juice of a fresh lemon. And as always, squeeze the lemon juice between your fingers to catch any seeds. Then whisk the ingredients to mix and boil the glaze until thick and syrupy. Great. Now, one last preparation. I'm going to show you how to make a rosemary basting brush. Take a bunch of rosemary, cut off a length of butcher string, and you want to just tie the rosemary up at the base. Pull tightly, we can snip off the end. And then just cut off the end to even out the bristles. So here's the lamb after 1 hour of roasting. It looks stunning, doesn't it? Dip your rosemary brush in the mustard glaze and then brush the outside of the lamb with this glaze. We have another 30 minutes of spit roasting. I'll baste a couple more times. Check out that lamb. It looks gorgeous. So we'll shut off the rotisserie motor. It feels done, gently yielding, but I always like to check with an instant read meat thermometer. You're looking for about 135 degrees. It's a perfect medium rare. We're there. Loosen the screws on the tines. Slide off the first set of prongs, and then pull out the hot spit and pull out the second set of prongs. Now, normally, you would let your leg of lamb rest for 20 minutes before you serve it. It will be much juicier, the meat will relax, but I am so impatient to try this that I'm going to cut off the trussing strings right now. Just pull those strings off. So we'll cut the lamb to slices. Now remember, the narrow end is going to be more well done. And this is really interesting. You see this edge right down here? This is a smoke ring. You never get a smoke ring when you spit roast on a gas grill, but when you spit roast over wood, it's almost the same as smoking. So I'll just transfer this to my tasting plate, and then a little of the mustard glaze on the side. This is outstanding. You've got the ginger, the garlic, the heat of that Chinese mustard glaze, and the whole thing gently smoked with wood smoke. The flavors are coming at you from every direction. As you climb the ladder of smoking enlightenment, you'll definitely want to try a whole hog. Best way to start? With a suckling pig you slow roast in a smoker. This is a 20-pound suckling pig, and the first step is to turn it over and season the cavity with coarse sea salt. Season up top here too, and freshly ground black pepper. I'm keeping the seasonings real simple. I want to keep the focus on the flavor of the suckling pig. Then brush the outside of the pig with extra virgin olive oil. This will help crisp the skin and give it that beautiful mahogany color. Then season the exterior with more sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. So we've rolled in our mammoth offset smoker, cook chamber up here, very interesting firebox. This is a stick burner, it burns logs. You can see I have a nice fire going, and I'll add a fresh log. We're using California walnut. Add a couple fresh logs to the fire every hour. Then adjust the vents in the front of the firebox. Open vents, greater airflow, more heat. Close the vents down, less airflow, you bring the heat down. All right. So place your pig on the grate in the smoke chamber. And here's one that we started about 4 hours earlier. I have a remote digital thermometer in the ham. Internal temperature now is about 150. I want to take the pig up to about 190. We're going to serve the suckling pig North Carolina style with a vinegar slaw and vinegar sauce. Start with cider vinegar, and to it add sea salt, freshly ground black pepper, hot pepper flakes, brown sugar for a touch of sweetness, and your favorite hot sauce. Whisk these ingredients until the salt and brown sugar dissolve. And once dissolved, add just enough water to take the edge off the vinegar. Let's just take a taste. It's tart and hot, just the way I like it. That will be a great counterpoint to the pork. So take about half of this vinegar sauce and pour it over sliced cabbage and mix with tongs. That's how you make your vinegar slaw. And we'll check on the suckling pig with our remote digital thermometer. 195. I think we're ready. Hey, Chris, come on in.
Hi, Steven.
How you doing? It's a great pleasure to introduce Chris Lynch. Chris is the chef who runs our field kitchen here. Longtime friend. I've asked him to help us with our suckling pig. Okay. That looks beautiful, Chris. Mahogany color.
Looks ready to come off.
All right, let's do it. Nice. Chris and I have been working together since my barbecue university days. He does a beautiful job of breaking down a pig.
All right, we're going to start out by opening up along the back, removing the skin to expose all of the meat.
Boy, look at that, how beautifully moist that meat is. I think we got a bit of a smoke ring on that, huh, Chris?
That looks good. We've got the skin off. We're going to start getting the meat, primal cuts.
That just comes right off the bone, doesn't it? And that's your loin, right?
That's the loin, and we have the rib meat.
Yep. And folks, this pink is not because the pork is undercooked. It's actually the effect of the smoke ring.
Taking the leg meat off, just making sure we get all the bones. The other loin here comes right off.
And how big was this pig, Chris?
This pig is a 20-pound pig.
20-pounder. And what's the biggest you ever smoked?
Probably a 150-pound monster.
And suckling pig like this is going to serve how many people?
This you could probably get 10 to 12.
10 to 12, yeah. Good.
That's about it.
And I'll tell you what, while I chop the meat and build the sandwiches, maybe you'll fry up those cracklings for us?
Absolutely.
Terrific.
Cracklings are the crisp, fatty skin of the pork, and I'm frying them in vegetable oil to crisp them up for our sandwiches. They're looking pretty sexy.
So there are several ways you can prepare the meat for the sandwiches. You can pull it into meaty shreds or slice it. I'm going to chop it. And it's just so tender. And I'm chopping across the grain. The beauty of a suckling pig is that you can actually get it onto a home smoker. You don't need one of the giant rigs to cook it. Now you want to spoon some of that vinegar sauce over the chopped pork. Pork is a very rich, fatty meat, and the vinegar sauce counterbalances that fat. So to build the sandwich, take some of this chopped suckling pig and mound it on buttered grilled buns. And next, take some of that vinegared slaw and put it on top. Then another spoonful of vinegar sauce. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Steven.
You got those cracklings?
Yes, sir.
All right, now here's how you transport a great pork sandwich to the stratosphere. Place a crackling on each one. Oh, yeah. I'll just place the bun on top. All right, Chris, let's see how we did.
All right.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, man. That pork is so tender, so smoky. Love the crunch of the slaw, the vinegar sauce.
The crackling adds a nice touch.
Yeah, the cracklings make it. Chris, I am so glad you're here to share this with me. I hope you've enjoyed our show on Big Smoke. Triple thick pork chops, Cape Town lamb, and smoked suckling pig. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Sorry, you're in with that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Spit roasting time, about 1.5 hours. Let's do it again.
How are you gonna end it?
You'll see. Okay.
Okay, I can't wait. And action.
Can I recommend smaller bites?
Still rolling.
If you were tasting this, you would not want a smaller bite. So
Hold
there
on,
is,
one sec, airplane. Beautiful job.
folks,
Say no more.
folks,
Hold the roll, please.